Before we look at the mechanics of movement, we first need to define a few things. Deadzone is played on an 8x8 grid of cubes that measure roughly 3 inches in each direction. All models within your strike team will have a size stat in their profile. A model's size stat is used to determine if it can fit into an already occupied cube or through gaps and windows to move into another cube. Where terrain allows for multiple levels, it's referred to as a stack of cubes. A single cube has a capacity of 4, thus allowing 4 size 1 models to move into it, or any combination of sizes adding up to 4. A model can be placed anywhere within a cube, as long as the centre point of its base is within that cube. In Deadzone, an adjacent cube is defined as one of the 26 surrounding cubes from any given cube. Whenever an adjacent cube is mentioned, imagine the starting cube is the centre of a block of 27 cubes. That's theoretically 9 above, 8 on the same level, and 9 below. When wanting to move a model, it can either advance or sprint. How many cubes a model can do either of these movement types is defined by their speed stat, the first being the advance amount and the second being the sprint amount. Looking at our Vermin Stalker, we can see its speed stat is 2/3, so it can advance up to 2 cubes or sprint 3 cubes. In Deadzone, it's best to work out your movement cube by cube following these steps. First, choose your destination cube out of the 26 adjacent cubes. Then check to find at least one valid orthogonal route. Place your model anywhere within the destination cube and repeat up to the model speed stat. Going back to our definition of adjacent cubes, moving to any adjacent cube always and only counts as 1 cube's worth of movement, regardless of the route taken if that route is valid, i.e. not blocked in any cube facing a model wishes to move through. We'll take a look at what constitutes a block facing in a moment. Let's say our stalker is activated and wants to advance behind this barricade. At first glance, it might seem as if this would take 2 cubes worth of movement, but don't forget, moving to any adjacent cube always only counts as 1 cube's worth of movement. You may also think, how does the stalker pass over the barricade terrain, and is there any penalty to do so? Well, when moving diagonally, you must check that there is a route to do so along any one of the shortest orthogonal routes to that cube. An orthogonal direction is any one of north, east, south, west, up and down. Be sure you understand this. This doesn't mean the shortest orthogonal route a model could take to get into a cube. It means from one cube to another, ignoring models and terrain, what are the shortest orthogonal routes. So to move behind the barricade, we must check the cube faces of either the southern cube or the eastern cube from our perspective. In Deadzone, each of the 6 faces of a cube can be defined as one of 3 states: open, blocked, or a gap. An open face is one where more than 75% of that face is unobstructed by terrain. A blocked face is a face that is more than 80% obstructed by terrain, such as a solid wall or the floor. All sizes of gap between those 2 definitions have their own definition, where you check to see if the size of model can fit through. The gap definitions can be found in the rulebook. For example, these may be doorways, windows, or holes in the floor of a cube stack level. Going back to our example, we would treat each face the barricade sits on as open. There is nothing above the barricade to define it as a gap, and so the model is free to jump over. In this case, there are 2 valid shortest orthogonal routes to the destination cube, so the move can go ahead. Remember, even though we check the face of the orthogonal cubes along the way, the overall move is still counted as 1 cube's worth of movement. To finish our advance, we still have another cube's worth of movement, so our stalker could move on from there, now only regarding the 26 adjacent cubes around its new position. In the next example, we want our stalker to move into the cube behind the window. To get there, we must find at least 1 valid orthogonal route not blocked by terrain. The 2 orthogonal routes to the destination cube are north then east, or east then north. We can see that the route north is immediately blocked by a wall, with a gap too small for even a size 1 model to fit through, as the gap is not 25% or larger in size. Going via the eastern cube, however, is valid. The first face we encounter is open and so ignored. The second face has 2 large windows in it, easily enough for the size 1 stalker to fit through. Having found a valid orthogonal route, we can move the stalker to his new position. Again, this only counts as 1 cube's worth of movement. Checking the orthogonal cubes is to find a valid route only. If, on the other hand, we wanted to move the stalker behind the wall, it would actually take us 2 cubes worth of movement. There is only 1 orthogonal route to the cube behind the wall, and the face along the way is blocked as we described earlier. Therefore, to get there, we'd first need to travel diagonally through the windows, or to the opposite diagonal cube for 1 cube of movement, then use the second cube of movement in the stalker's speed stat to move behind the wall. Moving up or down levels is exactly the same. Let's say we want to move the stalker on top of this small building. This is a valid destination, as it's an adjacent cube to the start position. So now let's check the shortest orthogonal routes to that cube. We could go west up south, or south up west. Interestingly, we can't go south west then up, as there is a blocking wall on this cube face. Models can only climb if there is valid scenery to do so. In this case, the stalker is ascending the wall. Remember also, only one of the routes need be valid. Technically there are 6 different shortest orthogonal routes to this cube. If any are valid, then the move can go ahead. Now our stalker is on top of this small building, we can see the floor of this cube has a hole in it. Models can always jump across gaps that are smaller than 1 cube in width. If the gap were 1 cube's width or larger, then a model would require equipment to traverse it, such as a jump pack. One question that can arise when moving models is exactly when triggering events occur. In Deadzone, those events, such as an assault action, only occur within the destination cube. For example, if we move the stalker into the cube containing this GCPS marine, we'd start an assault as normal. However, if instead we wanted to move the stalker behind the barricade again, even though both orthogonal routes contain an enemy model, it wouldn't result in an assault action. Those routes are only checked for being valid for movement and not for triggering events. Our stalker could move behind the barricade as normal. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more Kings of War, Deadzone and Warpath content.